color on. Bluetooth mode. Hair.
Wild, dangerous, and inconsistent. That's how Donald Trump's Ukraine policy was described, but now it's on the verge of delivery. Ukraine has agreed to a US ceasefire proposal. They're willing to stop fighting for 1 month to discuss the next steps. The ball is now in Vladimir Putin's court, but he also agreed to pause fighting. We'll tell you what his options are and what led to Ukraine's U-turn. Meanwhile, Donald Trump turned the White House into a Tesla showroom. The US president bought Elon Musk's car in a show of support for US products. In India, there is talk of a visit by Vice President J.D. Vance. In Pakistan, it's a race against time to end the Balochistan train hijack. In Mauritius, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launches an attack on colonialism. A special report on India's snack market and the billion-dollar Haldiram's deal. What Starlink Sentry means for India's internet landscape and how an artificial heart has completed an unprecedented milestone. All this and more coming up. The headlines first. The tariff war escalates. Canada announces additional tariffs on more than $20 billion of US goods. It is a retaliation against American tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminium. This will come into effect from tomorrow. These tariffs will hit products that India's retail inflation eases to a 7-month low. It fell below 4% in February. Year-on-year retail inflation was down to 3.6% last month. It was 4.3% in January. The decline was largely driven by lower food prices. Elections likely in Portugal as its prime minister resigns. He stepped down after his government lost a no-confidence vote in parliament. The outgoing prime minister has called for polls as soon as possible to avoid instability. This will be the third election partition in war-torn Sudan since April 2023. The paramilitary forces.
Hopefully President Putin will agree to that also, and we can get this show on the road.
And this also tells you a lot about Donald Trump. Most times his unpredictability is bad, sometimes it can be good. Because in Jeddah, US officials plan to meet the Russians soon. They will present the truce proposal to Moscow.
We're going to take the offer to them. We're going to tell them this is what's on the table. Ukraine is ready to stop shooting and start talking. And now it'll be up to them to say yes or no. I hope they're going to say yes. And if they do, then I think we'll make great progress. If they say no, then we'll unfortunately know what the impediment is.
Great news. If they don't, we will know what is the impediment to peace. Basically, whether it's Russia or Ukraine that is impeding peace, he will give a breather to Kiev to maybe regroup or restock. Plus, Vladimir Putin is under no pressure to cease fire. Trump can bring Zelensky to the table by cutting off aid, but he has no such power or leverage over Putin. At best, Trump can impose some sanctions. So militarily, a truce does not really make sense for Russia. It is a no-brainer. But politically, like I said, it's a pickle. That Trump would cut a deal without Ukraine. That's not happening. Clearly, that was not his plan. Yesterday's joint statement reaffirmed Ukraine's place at the table. It also hinted at a role for Europe. And finally, point number 3, the truce proposal could move things along. Until now, every side has been keeping their cards close to their chest, but now they cannot afford to do that. Russia will have to give a response to the truce request. If they accept, Kiev will have to sue for peace. If they don't accept, Trump will have to make a choice. Does he keep up the mediation effort? Does he cut off military aid to Ukraine? Does he put sanctions on Russia? Or does he just leave both countries to figure things out themselves? He will have to decide. And it all hinges on Putin's next move. We'll be tracking things closely for you.
We don't need cars from Canada.
We have car companies that are not building in Mexico. It's very unfair that they build in Mexico and sell them across the border with no tax, no nothing.
The United States is applying a 25% tariff on imports of steel and aluminum. We deeply regret this measure. Tariffs are taxes.
So Trump is making progress with Ukraine, but elsewhere he remains on the war path. He is expanding his trade war. 2 days ago, US markets collapsed, recession fears triggered a mass sell-off. It wiped out over $1 trillion in one day, $1 trillion. But instead of stepping back, US President Donald Trump is doubling down. He's made it clear that there is no going back on America first.
We've been treated very unfairly by Canada. We've been treated very unfairly by Mexico. But we've been treated very unfairly by every country all over the world.
Elon Musk was by Trump's side and he said all of that. It was in fact a special occasion. The president was shopping for a Tesla and hoping to make a point. You see, Tesla has hit a bumpy road. The past few days have been
This is your surface. Thoughts, emotions, reactions. They rise and fall like waves. You will find something unshaken, something that is where your power lies. A person who does not master their emotions is like easily extinguished, constantly flickering, unable to shine through. But a person who learns to remain steady, no matter what happens around